sir, but we haven't located. We haven't gotten his address.
To the chair, can we direct the COMSEC, Mr. Chairman, to coordinate with PCSO at the same time with General Torre with regards to the invitation for Mr. Chito Manalak of Global Tech?
COMSEC, please comply.
Yes, sir.
And invitation for PDL Dondon, as mentioned by Karen Espinosa, is Dondon present? PDL Dondon. COMSEC, have you sent an invitation for PDL Dondon?
We course through that, sir, to the provincial warden of Leyte. We are not yet certain if they have information on PDL Dondon.
Any representative from the provincial jail management in Leyte?
Is present, sir.
Sir, warden, we have an invitation for a certain PDL Dondon.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Certain PDL din Dondon Palermo was already discharged from our custody by virtue of a court order.
So, he was already released.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
When was that?
And perhaps 3 years already, Mr. Chair.
Anyway, to the chair once again, we direct COMSEC to invite PDL Dondon and get the full name of that PDL through the warden of provincial jail.
Paduano?
Yes, sir.
With regards to Espinosa siblings, the mother of Karen Espinosa, the sister of Karen Espinosa, Linda Rosal, household cleaner, Landa Sumalad, household cleaner, and Tessie Austria, household cleaner. Are they present in today's hearing?
There is no information, sir, if they are around, but we have sent the invitation to them. We carry it off sa lawyers niya.
To the lawyers?
Yes, sir.
To the chair once again, please follow up this with regards to the invitation and next hearing for all those mentioned names.
COMSEC, please comply.
And lastly, a group of personalities mentioned by Police Colonel Garma, a certain Hermina Muking Espinas, staff of Senator Bongo. Si Muking, nandito ba? Have you sent an invitation, COMSEC?
Yes, sir. And Ms. Muking has not presented herself, but we sent an invitation through the office of the senator.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I move to issue a show cause order for Hermina Muking Espina for her absence in today's hearing. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion to issue a show cause order to Ms. Muking. Ms.
Espina. Hermina Muking Espina.
And to be present in the next committee hearing of the Quadcom. COMSEC, please comply.
How about
Yes.
Mr. Peter Parongo?
The same is true with Mr. Parungal, sir. We tried to locate him. Unfortunately, there is no address yet.
Once again to the chair. Yes, General Torre.
Feedback, sir. We serve a letter to his residence at Davao City. The letter was received by his wife, sir.
Also, since the letter was received in his residence and received by his wife, Mr. Chairman, and he is not present today, I move to issue a show cause order for Mr. Romel Parongo Explain why he should be cited in contempt for the next hearing, Mr. Chairman. And
There is
present the next hearing.
there is
So
a
moved.
motion to issue a show cause order to Peter Paruno. Duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
For Romel Baktat. Object. For Romel Baktat, we have also invited.
We coursed through the invitation to the PNP, sir.
We served the letter, sir, at in his house in Turil, sir, Davao City, and the letter was received by his son.
Since Mr. Romel Baktat is present in today's hearing without any explanation, Mr. Chairman, I move that we issue a show cause order for Mr. Romel Baktat.
There
So
is
moved.
there is a motion to issue a show cause order to Mr.
Romel Baktat.
Romel Baktat. Duly seconded. Hearing no objection, the motion is carried.
For invitation for Rodel Serbo.
And through the PNP, sir.
Yes,
We
General.
delivered the letter to his known addresser, but the house is already abandoned in Davao City, sir.
So,
We are again
You never
looking for
received-
other addresses for Mr. Rodel Serbo, sir, and we'll be giving feedback to this committee when.
thank you, Jen Torre. Once again, to the chair, to direct the COMSEC to once again invite Mr. Rodel Serbo in the next hearing.
Comsec, please comply.
How about Michael Palma?
Sir, we brought the letter, the invitation letter, to his house in Minal, Davao City, and it was received by his housekeeper, and he has another registered address in Island Garden City of Samal, and it was received by his previous living partner, and we have so delivered those letters, sir.
Thank you, Jen Torre. Since Michael Palma is not present in today's hearing, I move that we issue a show cause order for Michael Palma. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion to issue a show cause order to Mr. Michael Palma for being absent in our committee hearing today. Duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, motion is carried.
How about Lester Berganyo?
We have not found any address for Mr. Begaños at the moment, sir. We are still locating any known address, sir.
Once again, Mr. Chairman, we will direct COMSEC to coordinate with the PNP to once again invite certain Lester Berganyo. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Comsec, please comply.
And second to the last, Mr. Chairman, isa na lang po after this, for Sunny Binaventura.
We had invited the person, sir, and it was personally received by the person in his residence in Barangay Peña Plata in Island Garden City of Samal, sir.
Once again, Mr. Chairman, since Mr. Binaventura, Sunny Binaventura received an invitation letter to his residence, I move that we issue a show cause order for Mr. Sunny Binaventura. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion to issue a show cause order to Mr. Sunny Benaventura for failing to appear before this committee today. Duly seconded by Congresswoman Jinky Luistro, and hearing no objection, the motion is carried.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, we have received a letter coming from Attorney Martin Videlgra, representing the former President, Honorable Rodrigo Roa Duterte. But we never, and the reason why the former President will be excused in today's hearing because of he needs more rest. He's currently not feeling well and is need of much rest. So, Mr. Chairman, first and foremost, there is no an authority coming from the former president that he will be represented by Attorney Martin V. Delga. And at the same time, no medical certificate confirming that indeed the former president will be excused in today's hearing because of his medical situation.
If I may, Your Honor, as we all know, the former president is already old and has been experiencing based on media reports, has been sick lately and has actually had his medical checkup, I believe. And I think, in deference to the former president, I think we should afford him the courtesy that is due to him by not requiring him to submit to this committee a medical certificate. Let us give him that extension of our courtesy to him being the former president, and his intention to appear before this committee in the subsequent hearings that we will schedule. So, if I may, Your Honor, let us not pursue the submission of medical certificate from the former president.
But Mr. Chairman, under our rules, no, malinaw po, tradition, all resource persons being invited in every hearing, especially in inquiry in native legislation, we need for him to explain. And the issue here, Mr. Chairman, of course, Attorney Martin Delgra sent us a letter representing the president, former president, but without an authority coming from the former president.
Perhaps that
And
was just...
Mr. Chairman, we have our rules.
I know, Your Honor.
And
but
in fact,
these
during the
are
previous
just...
hearings, in fact, during the hearing on public, on dangerous ducks, twice we excused Attorney Fortun, representing supposedly Michael Young without any authority from Michael Young. And in fact, he presented us authority coming from his office to the corporation being listed.
Your Honor,
To Michael Young.
if I may, we're not... This representation is not asking for the former president not to be excused in not following strictly the rules of the House. What I am asking for, Your Honor, is the request that we should not ask or demand a medical certification coming from the former president, because we all know that he has reached an age of a fragile age. Therefore, maybe we can grant that exception to the former president.
Mr. Chairman,
Your
point of
Honor.
information. Point of information. May I be allowed?
With the indulgence of
Yes,
Congressman
indulgence.
Paduano, what is the point of
Because
information?
I haven't read yet, no. I wanted to be clarified on something about the letter that was sent to us by the former president. Was it included in the letter that he is sick right now, or he need more rest in order to be a part of this?
No, I believe, Your Honor, that the lawyer clearly stated in that letter that he needs rest.
And the Chairman Paduano is asking for
If
a
the chair
medical certificate.
will allow me to read in toto, no, part of that letter. He is currently not feeling well and is in need of much rest. But Mr. Chairman, once again, let me, first thing first, since no authority coming from the former president to be represented by Attorney Martin Delgra, they have to produce. The committee should direct the former president to issue an authority for Mr. Attorney Martin Delgra, for him to be represented by this attorney. And with regards to the medical certificate, Mr. Chairman, of course, for humanitarian and giving due courtesy to the former president, I might yield to the position of the chair. But on the first issue with regards to authority coming to former president being represented, claimed by Attorney Martin Delgra, we have to get an authority from the president. Yes, the Attorney Martin Delgra will represent him on the
Congressman
next hearing.
Paduano,
Thank you,
if I
Mr.
may,
Chairman.
I believe that it was just perhaps an oversight, no, from the part of the lawyer, because clearly in this letter, uh, he is representing the former president, and information as to the health of the former president was also stated in this letter. Therefore, I believe that he has the imprimatur coming from the former
Mr.
president. That's the reason why maybe he wrote this letter. So,
Mr. Chairman, lastly, Mr. Chairman, with the indulgence of Congressman Flores, of course, let me again stress, Mr. Chairman, this is our tradition and there are rules. And if we do it, if we done it, in regards to Attorney Fortun, a top tax lawyer, and we excuse Attorney Fortun for not producing any substantial document that he was given an authority from Michael Yang. What's the difference between Attorney Martin Delgra and in the case of the former president?
well,
And I think, Mr. Chairman, kung talaga po, the former president give an authority to Attorney Martin Delgra, then they wrote us a letter. The former president should send us a letter that indeed is authorizing Attorney Martin Delgra to represent him.
1 minute suspension. Hearing is resumed.
Mr. Chairman,
With the indulgence of Congressman Dan Fernandez, the parliamentary status was the chair had to suspend the hearing for 1 minute in order to resolve the issue of being raised by Congressman Paduano with regards to the letter that the committee received stating, among others, the reason why the former president will not be able to attend the committee hearing today. And Congressman Paduano insisted that we have to stick with the rules
Yes.
of the House. And the chair immediately suspended in order that I can confer with Congressman Paduano so that we can accommodate the request as stated in the letter of the lawyer of former president that he be excused for today's committee hearing. So in this regard, may we ask Congressman Paduano What is the position of the chair of the Committee on Public Accounts?
Mr. Chairman, with regards to the second issue on the medical certificate that being required by this representation to the former president, I will yield to the opinion position of the good chairman,
Thank you.
the lead chairman. But with regards to the authority coming from the former president for Attorney Martin Delga, we need the document so that he can have an official entry of appearance in the next hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, as I stated earlier, Congressman Paduano, Your Honor, that perhaps it is just an oversight on the part of the counsel of the former president. And I agree that we should ask the counsel to be present in our committee hearing to enter his appearance as the counsel for the former president. So thank you for accommodating my request, Congressman Paduano. So with that, we will now proceed with the next part of
Mr. Chairman,
the agenda.
if I may-
Yes, Congressman Dan Fernandez.
In addition, we were discussing about those two issues that was mentioned by you and by Chairman Paduano. And further, sinasabi po sa Section 9 ng ating rules, no, that yung physically present nung ating pong binigyan ng authority, no, para po mag-represent sa ating pong mga witnesses. And dito po sinasabi further that no witness shall be granted more than 2 postponements of appearance before the committee without justifiable cause. With that, Mr. Chairman, we have to apply the rules of this committee to all or none at all. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that manifestation, Congressman Fernandez.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair. Yes, Congressman Abante.
I just would like to make it clear for the people watching this Quadcom hearing today. Are we giving special treatment to a witness just because he is the former president? Or just like what Congressman Fernandez said, that this applies to all?
Well, I beg to disagree, Your Honor, that we are giving special treatment. What I am saying and stating for the record that we extend the courtesy due to a former president. Hindi naman po ibig sabihin na hindi na po natin siya imbitahin. On this particular committee hearing that we scheduled for today, the committee has received a letter stating, among others, the reason why the former president cannot be present. So, wala hong exception dyan. Hindi ho natin siya binibigyan ng special treatment. I do agree with the chair of the Committee on Human Rights that we should stick with the rules of the House. But in this particular case, in deference to him being the former president, I would like to ask for your understanding to extend a little bit of the courtesy that is due to him for being the former president. Wala hong special favors dito. Baka ma-misquote ako. Yun lamang po ang aking gustong ipalabas. I hope that is understandable. And,
Yes, I fully understand, Mr. Chair, and I agree with your sentiments and statement. Though I believe that we should further state on the record, Mr. Chair, according to our rule, that no witness shall be granted more than 2 postponements of appearance before the committee without justifiable cause. Would they be able to do that, Mr. Chair?
yes, that is noted, and the chair will definitely agree with the position of Congressman Abante, and the chair likewise, for the record, state that we will stick with what the rules has been provided. Thank you, Congressman Abante. So,
Mr. Chair, can I be recognized, Mr. Chair?
Congresswoman Arlene Brosas, and then Congressman Plato,
and
and
myself,
then Congresswoman Franz Castro. Yes, Congresswoman
Thank you,
Brosas,
Mr.
you're
Chair.
recognized.
Mr. Chair, just a manifestation, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, on October 18, the Quadcom sent an invitation to former President Rodrigo Duterte to attend the Quadcom meeting today. Former President Duterte's legal counsel told yesterday that the former president cannot attend the hearing today. Mr. Chair, the non-appearance of former President Rodrigo Duterte at the Quadcom hearing today is a clear manifestation of his disregard for truth, justice, and accountability. By refusing to participate, the former president is hindering the people's right to know and denying them the opportunity to seek justice for the crimes caused by the war on drugs during his term. Libo-libo pong buhay ang ninakaw ng Duterte administration dahil sa kanyang peke at madugong giyera kontra droga. Kailangan niyang harapin ang mamamayang Pilipino na matagal nang humihingi ng hustisya. Hindi pwedeng sabihin na short notice at masama ang pakiramdam at kailangan ng pahinga. Ang mga pamilya nga ng mga biktima, kahit matanda na, andyan po si Tatay Bailon, pumunta rito para makapagpahayag ng kanilang saloobin. So Mr. Chair, takot ba siya na harapin ng taong bayan? Yun lang po ang manifestasyon ko, Mr. Chair.
The manifestation is noted. Congressman Plato, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning to our esteemed chairpersons and honorable members of the Quad Committee, guests and resource person speakers. This is to express my unqualified support to the various House resolutions arising from the tedious Quad Committee inquiry in aid of legislation, specifically on the matter of the search of Chinese nationals or students enrolling in various educational institutions in the provinces of Cagayan and Isabela. May mga reports po kasi na libo-libong Chinese students ang dumagsa sa probinsya ng Cagayan at Isabela upang mag-aral mula pa noong 2019. It is not that I'm against Chinese students coming to study in the Philippines. However, considering the tension in the West Philippine Sea and the ongoing legislative investigations into the alleged involvement of Chinese individuals, groups, or corporations in illegal POGOs, and the alleged crimes associated in your operation, it is understandable for us Filipinos to feel so concerned on your increased presence here, disguising or not as students. Having said that, honorable chairpersons, this representation fully supports the proposed resolutions aimed at bringing clarity to these POGO-related issues in our country. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Congressman Plato. Before we acknowledge the next member who wished to manifest, allow the chair to acknowledge the presence of Congressman Lordan Suwan, Congressman Ernix Junicio, and Congressman Bong Teves. Welcome to the committee hearing. And Congressman Faustino Inodi. Congresswoman Franz Castro, you are recognized for your manifestation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, ang kinatawang ito po ay lubos na nababahala at dismayado sa hindi pagdalo ng dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa hearing ng ating komite. Parang naggagayahan lang ang mag-amang Duterte. Ang daming sinasabi kapag hindi under oath o wala sa tamang lugar. Pero kapag pinatawag na sa formal na pagdinig, nag-uugaling pusit na pareho at ang dami ng rason para wag dumalo ang sagutin ng maayos ang mga katanungan natin. Kaya I move na kapag hindi pa dumalo si dating Presidente Duterte sa susunod na hearing ay i-cite na siya in contempt or kung ano man yung rules natin. Kundi ay ito po ay isang malaking insulto sa mga pamilya. Andyan po yung pamilya ng mga biktima ng madugong war on drugs na nandito po sa atin. Sa kanyang pagtanggi ay nagpapakita lamang ng kawalan ng respeto sa proseso ng investigasyon at sa pagharap sa katotohanan. Mr. Chair, ang mga aligasyon laban sa kanya ay napakaseryoso. Mula sa mga pagpatay sa mga sibilyan, sospek at may hirap, maging sa mga Chinese drug convicts hanggang sa pagpatay ni Mayor Rolando Espinosa. Hindi ito mga bagay na dapat ipagwalang bahala o iwasan. Kung totoong walang itinatago si Pangulong Duterte, bakit hindi niya harapin ang mga tanong natin dito sa committee? Bakit kailangan tayong magtago sa likod ng mga dahilan tulad ng health issues at short notice? Mr. Chair, hinihiling ko sa committee na gawin ang lahat ng hakbang upang matiyak ang pagdalo ni dating Pangulong Duterte sa susunod na hearing kung patuloy siyang magtatago at dapat natin isaalang-alang ang paggamit ng ating kapangyarihan para i-cite siya in contempt. Ang bayan ay nangangailangan ng katotohanan at justisya, hindi tayo dapat magpatinag sa mga taktika ng pag-iwas at pagtatago. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Caso. The last
Chair.
to deliver his manifestation is Congressman Keith Flores, with the indulgence of Congressman Abante. You are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I only want to confirm that I personally know Attorney Delgra and I called him up during the break, Mr. Chair. He confirmed that he is acting for and in behalf of the President when he wrote that letter, Mr. Chair. He even sent a text message to confirm that. I also understand that our rules require his physical presence, so I submit to the ruling of our chairperson.
Question lang, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Congressman Keith Flores. Now, Congressman Abante, before Congressman Manuel. You're recognized, Congressman Abante.
Since Congresswoman Arlene and Franz Castro mentioned the victims, no? Yung mga kamag-anak po ng victims, can we recognize them? Can we ask all of them to stand up, please, to recognize ang mga kamag-anak po ng mga biktima?
Pwede po ba tumayo ang mga kamag-anak po ng biktima? Maraming salamat po. Pwede na po kayong maupo. Maraming salamat. Congressman Manuel and then Congressman Acop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, tanong lang dahil batay na rin po sa official communication na pinadala mula sa panig ng dating Pangulo. Nabanggit po doon yung, and I quote, willingness to appear before the House of Representatives on some other available date, preferably after November 1, end of quote. So, Mr. Chair, sa ganitong mga pagkakataon na sa panig po nila nag-express ng ganong availability, how will the committee deal with that? Dahil, Mr. Chair, while meron tayong mga tinitik note ng mga considerations, ayaw din naman natin na ma-prolong iyan. Tapos baka tumagal din na hindi pala magiging maayos yung kalusugan ng dating Pangulo at madadali po ang mga proceedings ng komite na expected na humarap siya. So, sa bahagi ng Quadcom, Mr. Chair, do we have some target dates kung kailan talaga posibleng matuloy na ang investigasyon na makaupo ang dating Pangulo? Yun lang, Mr. Chair.
In response to your question, Congressman Manuel, it will depend by and large on the topic that we will set on the next scheduled committee hearing. So in case where EJK will be the scheduled topic, then we will have to extend invitation again to the former president. So thank you. Congressman Acop.
Mr. Chair, pursuant to our rules on inquiry under Section 15, may respectfully move that we extend our inquiry so far as the issues raised in the Quadcom committee is concerned, because Section 15 requires that we terminate our hearings within a period of 60 days. So, may move, Mr. Chair, that we extend the hearing. So move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to extend the Quadcom hearing duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Commissioner, please take note that the committee, the Quadcom, has unanimously approved the extension of the conduct of this committee hearing. Thank you. Now we proceed with the next part of the agenda. May we ask former Senator Laila De Lima for your opening statement.
Mr. Chair, bago po yun, naalaman ko po na meron pang mga nasa baba ng mga EJK victims, ng mga pamilya. Na kung meron tayong lugar dito, wala na yata lugar, pwede umakyat or pwede na natin kilalanin ito kung kanya.
Wala na po tayong lugar, Your Honor. And hopefully, magkasya po sana po dito lahat ng nating naimbitahang resource persons. But unfortunately, the space is limited. So I believe that they are properly seated sa basement, sa ground floor. And nanonood po sila ng ating hearing sa ngayon. So now we proceed with acknowledging former Senator Leila de Lima for your opening statement. Please proceed.
Good morning to the lead chair of the Quad Committee, Representative Barbers, to the chairs of the other committees constituting the Quadcom, the members of the Quadcom, members of Congress, and also good morning to the other resource persons invited for today's hearing. Actually po, I have both a statement and a presentation. Medyo mahaba po, and I was advised right before the hearing that I should cut it down. Although mahaba po talagang presentation ko. Best efforts, I will try to abbreviate.
So Chair, before our former senator proceeds, can I just request that she puts the mic a little bit closer, just so that we can hear her voice louder. Thank you very much.
Salamat po. I attend this hearing with a deep sense of irony. I have not forgotten that in September and October of 2016, the House Committee on Justice conducted the inquiry on the Bilibid drug trade. However, unlike this hearing, the real subject of that hearing was not really about the drug trade. The real subject of that 2016 House Committee hearing was all about destroying me for conducting a Senate inquiry which in so many aspects was like this one. The only difference between this hearing and that Senate hearing is that my committee inquiry was 8 years earlier and Duterte was at the peak of power. Sa Senate hearing pong yun, ay kinundin ako yung drug war ni Duterte. At nagmakaawa pa po ako na tigilan na ito habang ilang daan pa lang ang mga nagiging biktima at wag na sanang paabutin pa ng libo-libo. Ngunit sa kasawiang palad, wala pong nakinig sa akin, lalo na may mga mayorya po tayo ng mga senador at congressman na ayon kay Senator Bongo noong isang araw, ay walang sawa sa pagpalakpak kay Pangulong Duterte sa bawat banggit niya sa pagsulong na madugong drug war sa kanyang mga zona. Sa halip ako ay pinaaresto, pinukulong, binusalan ng halos 7 taon gamit ang mga gawa-gawang ebidensya katulad ng testimonya ng mga ilang Bilibid drug lords at inmates. I'd like to say that the objective for targeting me was threefold: to silence me, to destroy my credibility, and to serve as an example to others. By doing all three, my message to the people against Duterte's EJKs would no longer be heard or listened to, and no one else would dare to act as a messenger after seeing what was done to me. Since all three were achieved, the EJKs became accepted by public officials and the general population. This led to more killings because no one was arresting and prosecuting the killer cops and the vigilantes. This was impunity as never seen before in the Philippines outside of Davao. Sobrang nakakalungkot na ngayon lamang nagkaroon ng napaka-komprehensibong pagtalakay ang Kamara de Representante sa drug war at mga EJK pagkatapos ng tumambak ang libo-libong bangkay na naging biktima ng drug war. Ayon nga po kay Professor Randy David, marahil ang pagdinig na ito ng Kamara ay katumbas na rin ng aming pinapangarap na Truth Commission na hihimay sa mga tunay na pangyayari sa 6 na taon na pagpaslang ng ating sariling gobyerno at kapulisan sa libo. Is that ang naging resulta ng war on drugs to Duterte? There are also those who are unjustly imprisoned based on planted and fabricated evidence. Ako nga po yung very first victims of that. Ngayon naman po ang pinatutuo
yung sa bagong revelasyon ni Police Colonel Royina Garma nang binulgar niya sa huling hearing ng Quadcom na siya ang inatasan mismo ni Pangulong Duterte na maghanap ng tao sa PNP na maasahan niya sa pag-iimplementa ng drug war alinsunod sa modelong gawa niya sa Davao City. That's why my presentation, and I'll try to really make it brief, would cover four topics. One is the recent disclosure of Kerwin Espinosa. I'd like to comment on that. Two is the importance of the 2009 CHR investigation of the DDS to the inquiry of this committee. Three is the revelation of former Police Colonel Royina Garma that the drug war was modeled after the Davao anti-drug campaign. And I'd like also to touch the relevance of Republic Act number 9851 on crimes against humanitarian law, genocide, and other crimes against humanity, and enforcing accountability. So ito na po yung aking presentation. Although meron po akong mga i-skip because actually part of my presentation are some videos, but hindi ko na po yon ipapakita because of the limited time. So nung narinig ko nga po yung testimonya ni Kerwin Espinosa last hearing, it was Senator Bato de la Rosa who ordered him to lie under oath before the Senate in November 2016. Hindi na po ako nagulat doon. Si Kerwin actually already rejected his fabricated testimony against me in April 2022. Around the same time that Rafael Ragos, the former Bucor OIC and NBI Deputy Director, also recanted in accusing me of receiving money from Bilibid drug lords. Dun po sa hearing sa Senado, ay talaga namang sinabi ko doon na lahat po ng mga sinasabi nila tungkol sa akin, sa pagiging protector ko daw nung illegal drug trade ni Mr. Kerwin Espinosa, ay wala ho yung katotohanan. I vehemently, categorically, and firmly went on record in denying those accusations. Sinabi ko rin noon na yung mga sinasabi nila Kerwin Espinosa, ni Ronnie Dayan, and ni Colonel Estenido ay wala talagang katotohanan. In the first place, hindi nga sila magkakilala. Nauna na nilang sinabi yon before they were presented before the Senate na hindi sila mga magkakilala. Dali lang po. So ngayon po, nandito si Colonel Estenido. I saw him earlier. If the Quad Committee would be so kind as to indulge me, gusto ko sana makiusap kay Colonel Estenido. Sabihin niya na yung katotohanan. Kasi yung all he said during that Senate hearing was just let God be the witness to my innocence or something to that effect. Sana po ngayon, Colonel Estenido, sabihin niyo na rin po ang katotohanan. Kung pwede sabihin niyo na rin o i-corroborate niyo yung sinabi ni Kerwin na si then PNP Chief De La Rosa and now Senator De La Rosa ang involved or responsible for ordering the three of you to fabricate accusations against me. Now, sinabi ko rin po kanina na I'd like to discuss the relevance of the CHR investigation in the Quadcom inquiry. Maybe at this point, I cannot yet do that. Sasabihin ko lang po na mahalaga yung naging CHR investigation namin in 2009 into the DDS killings. Kasi pwede itong maging reference point in terms of painting a picture of the organization, the Davao Death Squad, the operation, and the implementation of the Duterte drug war from the barangay to the national level. Kasi sinabi na nga ho ni Colonel Garma, yung kanyang mga revelasyon na the extrajudicial killings, yung mga operations under Duterte's drug war beginning in 2016 was just patterned after the Davao model. And the Davao model can only refer or can only mean the DDS model or the Davao Death Squad. skip muna po natin yan. Doon naman sa affidavit po ni Colonel Garma, presented and expounded upon the last hearing, I'd like to share some information we got and some findings on the Davao model of payment and rewards mentioned by Colonel Garma. This information is limited to the facts uncovered during the 2009 CHR investigation on the Davao Death Squad. Next slide, please. The history of the DDS can be divided into two. The period from 1988 to 1998 and the period from 2001 to 2016. So may break po. The break of these two periods coincides with then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte's hiatus as mayor of Davao City when he was elected congressman instead of mayor in 1998 due to the 3-term limit. So for brevity, I'll refer to the former mayor as MRRD. According to a witness in the 2009 CHR investigation, during the first period of the DDS from 1988 to 2000, the assassins were paid 15,000 for every victim. 5,000 goes to the police handler and 10,000 to the assassins, who at the time consisted of rebel returnees aside from the active duty policemen who were their handlers. Their safe house was located inside the Napolcom compound in Barangay San Pedro, Davao. After the summary execution of targeted victims, the DDS members would regroup at their safe house and divide the reward. During that time, MRRD sometimes personally gave out the kill orders and the reward money directly to the assassins themselves. Upon the return of MRRD as mayor of Davao in 2001, the DDS was upgraded into the Heinous Crimes Investigation Section, or HCIS, located at the Almendras Gym compound. The HCIS was an official unit of the DCPO, or the Davao City Police Office. The HCIS consists of both active duty PNP and civilian abanteros, or hitmen. Most of the hitmen are rebel returnees. They are supervised by PNP handlers. Each handler supervises 3 members. The task of the PNP handler is to give orders to his members as well as be responsible for their protection. According to the CHR witness, he was given a regular monthly salary of 5,000. During this time, the reward given to a team for every victim was anywhere from 13,000 to 15,000. 3,000 to 5,000 goes to the PNP handler, 7,000 to 8,000 was shared among the rebel returnees, and 500 to 1,000 to civilian informants. The HCIS civilian personnel or rebel returnees directly received salaries as auxiliary service workers. The funds for their salaries came from the office of the mayor. Functions have also been specialized, with members being designated to do either office support or field work. A team of 1 PNP handler and 3 civilian abanteros was given an average of 3 targets every month. I now go also to the revelation of Arturo Las Cañas. Yung mga naging findings po namin, although yung iba po doon, mga unofficial findings ng CHR investigation, were eventually confirmed by Edgar Matobato and Arturo Las Cañas when they went public at the Senate with their stories and executed affidavits in 2016 and 2017. Matobato executed an affidavit and was filed with the Ombudsman as a criminal complaint against Duterte and other DDS members. The criminal complaint is still pending sa Office of the Ombudsman. The most comprehensive account on the DDS from its founding in 1988 up to 2016 is the affidavit of Arturo Las Cañas, which was submitted to the ICC. This affidavit consists of 186 pages of gory details on the sociopathic behavior of Duterte as founder and leader of the DDS. Yung 186-page affidavit po yan, actually it was serialized in an investigative or feature story of Rappler in November 2021. Apparently, Rappler got hold of a copy of this affidavit and also the ICC's third agreement on limited use of information dated November 11, 2020. This instrument gave Las Cañas limited immunity as a witness in the ICC investigation on the Philippine War on Drugs. Noong 2024 naman po, Las Cañas reiterated the contents of his ICC affidavit in another serialized feature, this time published by Verifiles, entitled Conversations with Arturo Las Cañas. Ito naman po ang sinasabi ni Las Cañas, that during the period 1988 to 1998, I'm just talking here about the organization, kasi napakadami po ng mga sinabi niya sa kanyang comprehensive affidavit. So I'm focusing on the organization of DDS dahil nga ito yung naging model ng drug war. According to Las Cañas ICC affidavit, during the period 1988 to 1998, when the DDS was constituted as the Anti-Crime Task Force of MRRD, DDS members were paid anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 for every victim. This was the reward for the ordinary victims. Pag mga matataas naman po, the so-called special project killings, they were rewarded anywhere from 100,000 to 1 of the target. Civilian hitmen, force multipliers, were given 3,000, 5,000 per victim as their share in this reward. The DDS logistics and finances came from the Peace and Order or Intel Fund of MRRD. This includes weekly gas allowance, monthly cash allowance, and Christmas cash gifts. Skip ko na muna po yung next slide, please. Las Cañas also confirmed the CHR findings on the organizational structure of the DDS under the HCIS, or Heinous Crimes Investigation Section, from 2001 to 2016. And this is as follows. MRRD, alias Superman, as the highest leader and mastermind of the DDS. SPO4 Sanson Benaventura as the Logistics, Finance, and Death Clearance Feature or Officer. SPO3 Arturo Las Cañas as overall team leader for operations and planning. SPO4 Bienvenido Laud as team handler and in charge of the Laud Quarry Mass Grave. And SPO3 Jim Tan as team handler and in charge of the Manduk Mass Grave. Actually, mas intricate yung inattach ni Mr. Las Cañas sa kanyang ICC affidavit about the organizational structure of the DDS. What I just mentioned, I just simplified it to show who are really at the top of the DDS hierarchy. Most of the policemen handlers and their respective teams of civilian force multipliers were under the command of Arturo Las Cañas as operations and planning leader of the DDS. So sinabi ko po na that must be the Davao model na binanggit ni Colonel Garma. Finally, of just sharing my knowledge, last na po ito, kung pwede po sana. Tungkol na lang muna po sa law, RA 9851. Kasi hindi po ito masyadong alam. We do have a law entitled An Act Defining and Penalizing Crimes Against International Humanitarian Law, Genocide and Other Crimes Against Humanity, Organizing Jurisdiction, Designating Special Courts, and for related purposes. This was enacted in December 11, 2009. It punishes almost the same crimes mentioned in the Rome Statute, over which the ICC has jurisdiction. RA 9851 was enacted almost 2 years before the Philippines finally joined the ICC on November 1, 2011, after the Senate ratified the Rome Statute in August 2011. The crime of EJ case, carried out by state security forces and their agents in the implementation of the war on drugs, fall under the general category of other crimes against humanity, under Section 6, which consists of acts committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed against any of the attack. These acts include willful killing, so murder, extermination, murder, multiple murder, torture, and enforced disappearance, among others. The penalty for the crime of systematic attack against any civilian population resulting in death is reclusion perpetua. It's a non-bailable crime. According to Section 8, a person who orders, solicits, or merely induces the systematic attack on the civilian population and which thereafter occurs or is attempted is liable as a principal. The same applies to anyone who contributes to the commission of the crime by a group of persons acting with a common purpose. Section 9 provides that as a head of state or government shall in no case exempt a person from criminal responsibility under this act, nor shall it in and of itself constitute a ground for reduction of sentence. The crimes defined and penalized under that law, their prosecution and the execution of sentences imposed on their account shall not be subject to any prescription. Tugisin, relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime punishable under this act if another court or international tribunal is already conducting the investigation or undertaking the prosecution of such crime. Instead, the authorities may surrender or extradite suspected or accused persons in the Philippines to the appropriate international court, if any, or to another state, pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Napakasimple po. Sa aking palagay, sa aking pagkaalam, napakasimple po ang ibig sabihin ng batas na ito. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC o ng Rome Statute, kinilala na natin ang kapangyarihan ng international bodies like the ICC na imbestigahan at litisin ang mga krimeng nasasaad sa RA 9851. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC, meron po tayong general na pahintulot sa isin magiging kasapat sa mga tinatawag na crimes against humanity katulad ng malawakang EJK sa ilalim ng drug war. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC na ilahad na natin sa batas na yan na kung sakali may international body na nag-iimbestiga ng crimes against humanity, maaari nating isurrender o i-extradite sa international body na katulad ng ICC sa The Hague, Netherlands, and mga sangkot sa mga ganitong klase ng krimen. I do recognize, and I think you will agree with me, that it will be totally discretionary on the part of the Philippine authorities. Just like sa mga sa extradition po natin, na pwede natin na isurrender muna, ipaubaya muna in the requesting party, yung isang akusado na cover sa extradition treaty, pero nasa atin pa rin yun kung gagawin natin yon. Kaya ko po ito sinasabi kasi through this law, we have recognized the jurisdiction of the ICC over crimes against humanity committed in the Philippines, even before we ratified the Rome Statute as a binding treaty. Sarili na po nating batas ang nagsasabi na kailangan natin makipag-ugnayan sa ICC kahit noong hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC. Lalo na noong tayo ay miyembro na. At kahit hindi na tayo miyembro ng ICC dahil sa makasariling pagkalas ni Duterte sa ICC noong 2018. para sabihin natin na wala na tayong pakialam sa ICC, kailangan muna nating ipawalang bisa ang na ito. However, I respectfully submit, rather than repeal this law, we should now take steps to retract the self-serving act of Mr. Duterte to withdraw from the ICC in 2018. We must return to the fold of the ICC. We must rejoin the community of nations who have recognized the need for an international body of nations who have recognized to go after the perpetrators of the most terrible crimes against humanity, the hostis humani generis, the enemies of humankind. Mga kaaway lamang ng sangkatauhan ang takot sa pagsasanib puwersa ng mga bansa upang matigil ng pagpatay ng walang habas sa ngalan ng Estado. But having said that, I still appreciate so much, many people appreciate so much the efforts of this Quad Committee that can very well be indeed the Truth Commission. Kaya lang tintang natin, yung napaka-komplikado talaga ng usapin ng war of drugs. Kadaming biktima, hindi naman natin pwedeng busisiin lahat for every individual acts of killing. Kundi, dapat, anuhin natin, maganda nga yung nangyayari doon sa mga revelasyon ni Colonel Garma, na ganyan yung ginamit nilang model. At ituturo mismo si Mr. Duterte. So ano lang siya, supplemental, ano lang siya, it's just corroborating everything else that we know from news reports, from other information, and from yung mga nangyayari beginning in 2016. So I just shared my views on the need to rejoin ICC kasi you can never tell in the future ano man yung resulta ng itong ginagawang investigasyon ng Quad Committee, na in the future we will have another tyrant, another mass killer for a president. So, ganun po ang aking opinion sa bagay na yan. Maraming salamat po.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Senator Lara de Lima, for your sharing with us in the Quadcom your opinion on the very important national issue of extrajudicial killings. So, clarificatory lang. Congressman Abante, you're now recognized.
Former Senator, kailan niyo po itong napag-aralan? Nung kayo po ay CHR pa? CHR pa po kayo?
Opo. I became a CHR chairperson in 2008. Noong 2009 po, sinimulan namin yung investigation into the Davao Death Squad killings. Dahil nga may mga impormasyon po kami noon. And nakita lalo namin yung report ni UN Special Rapporteur Philip Alston and some other reports like the one issued by the Human Rights Watch, You Can Die Anytime. The title of that is You Can Die Anytime, referring to the killings under this group, which are euphemistically called the Davao Death Squad. Kaya lang po, if I may say so, na yung aking pong termino or yung aking pag-upo bilang CHR chairperson hanggang 2010 lang po. Dahil in 20 ng dating Pangulong Noynoy Aquino. So
pinagpatuloy niyo po ba yung investigasyon o kayo Secretary of Justice Department?
Konti lang po yung mga nagawa ng DOJ nung secretary na po ako. Although si Matubato, sumipot po siya, at we gave him, the DOJ gave him witness protection. Kaya lang, nung uupo na po in 2016, yung dating Pangulong Duterte bilang Pangulo ay umalis na po siya sa witness protection program. Yun po ang pagkakaalam ko. Pero meron po akong extensive personal investigation notes on what we gathered. Kasi yung mga nakausap namin in the course of that CHR inquiry, magaganda o mahalaga yung mga sinasabi nila, kasama na rin po sa reward system, ay sila po yung mga kinausap lang namin ng mga sikreto lang. Kasi ayaw nilang humarap doon mismo sa open public inquiry ng CHR.
Marami ba kayong nakausap?
About, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 5 of them. At in-interview lang namin sila. Kasi ang sa karamihan sa kanila ay hindi naman ayaw pong mag-execute ng formal affidavit. But we interviewed them. That's why I took down notes, personal notes, and gumamit nga po sila ng mga aliases.
Ano niyo po bang isubmit ang inyong findings sa committee?
Yes, I can share with this committee my personal investigation notes on the conduct of the CHR inquiry. Kasi pag alis ko nga po, wala pa yung resolution. Later on, the CHR under new leadership came out with a resolution that was in June of 2020.
Okay, Mr. Chair, did you also submit that to the ICC? Your findings? Yung last question, Mr. Chair, I would like to refer to Colonel Espinido. You were directly mentioned by the former senator. So will you please answer her now on that issue? Are you corroborating with the former senator on this, or?
Good morning, Your Honors, Mr. Chair. Good morning, ma'am. Me, as a chief of police at the time, one of endorsing the complaint to the DOJ. One of those names is Ma'am Leila de Lima for the affidavit that was already made by Mayor Espinosa together with his lawyer Villarino. So as chief of police, I am one who endorsed that complaint to the ombudsman. But for me, as I remember when we talked with Ma'am de Lima in the Senate, that I am telling her that, Ma'am, the truth will set you free. Because for me, I am innocent for that, as just only a chief of police who endorsed the complaint to the DOJ. But yung knowledge talaga, sir, hindi ko alam kung totoo na siya involved si ma'am. No, as being chief of police lang, na yun talaga ang procedure na mag-endorse kung may mga complaint. Pero I believe at the time, Your Honors, Mr. Chair, na kinausap na si Mayor Espinosa kung nalaman naman ng buong mundo na si Mayor Espinosa was already there in Camp Crame to Sirbato for surrender. So pag turn over niya sa akin, dala na yung mga statement na ganon. So what I did is just only to endorse the complaint to the Ombudsman, Your Honors, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I'll be asking more questions later on.
Thank you, Congressman Abante. We have a list of those who will interpellate Senator Leila de Lima. And the first to interpellate is Congressman Manuel. You are recognized. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning po sa fellow members po natin. Mr. Chair, nabanggit po ni Senator Leila de Lima na ang leader mismo ng Davao Death Squad ay mismo yung dating mayor din, Mayor Rodrigo Duterte. Did I hear it right, Mr. Chair?
Yes, those are the claims of those witnesses that we talked to. That is also the claim of Edgar Matobato and Arturo Las Cañas.
At Mr. Chair, siya po yung merong alias na Superman bilang leader ng Davao Death Squad. Mr. Chair, given ang mga rewards doon sa mga napapatay na mga suspects or involved di umano sa drug trade, Mr. Chair, ano ang source nitong binayad doon sa mga kasama yung mga informants, yung mga civilian na mga force multipliers, pati sa mga assassins?
Nabanggit ko po yan sa statement ko kanina o sa presentation ko kanina na meron nang gagaling from the Office of the Mayor itself, the Intel funds from the Office of the Mayor. The GTS, the logistics and finances came from the Peace and Order or Intel Fund of MRRD. That's according to the CHR witnesses and also from Las Cañas ICC affidavit.
Mr. Chair, may we get once again yung breakdown, ano po yung mga pwedeng pinagpuntahan nitong intelligence funds, halimbawa police na aktibong nagpatupad ng ganitong tipo ng giyera kontra droga?
Yes, yung nasa isang slide kanina, according to the CHR witness, kung ilan yung amount, magkano yung amount for the 1988 to 2000 period. Kasi sinabi ko kanina na actually 2 periods yung DDS. 1998 to 2000, then 2001 to 2016. Nagkaroon ng break nung naging congressman yung dating mayor. Now, so 15,000, 5,000 to the handler, 10,000 to the assassins, and then yung sa 13,000 to 15,000, 3,000 to 5,000 for the handler, 7,000 to 8,000 for the assassins, and 500 to 1,000 for abanteros. They call them abanteros. Yung kay Mr. Las Cañas naman, ang sinabi niya sa kanyang affidavit, EPS members are paid anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 na special project killings, mas mataas, were rewarded anywhere from 100,000 to 1 million pesos depending on the status of the target. Yun po ang mga natandaan ko nung binasa ko yung affidavit ni Mr. Las Cañas at yun din po nung binasa ko at review ko yung aking personal investigation notes from the CHR investigation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, merong nabanggit din na merong weekly gas allowance. Bahagi po ba iyon ng bayad sa mga pulis na nagpatupad ng Davao level war on drugs? Merong weekly gas allowance, may
Yes.
bukod pang cash allowance, tsaka
Yes.
Christmas gifts.
According to Mr. Las Cañas, this includes weekly gas allowance, monthly cash allowance, and Christmas cash gifts.
Mr. Chair, ano po ang pagtingin ng ating resource person, Senator Lila de Lima? Kasi kung ang nabanggit ni Colonel Garma ay pinatupad ang Davao model from ang scope lang ay sa Davao City at ginawa itong isang nationwide na drug campaign. At ang source ng funding para dun sa rewards, Mr. Chair, ay ang intelligence fund sa Davao City. Posible po ba, pero this time, ay yung intelligence fund, Office of the President?
Mr. Chair, Your Honors, the possibility is always there, but I have no knowledge of that. I don't know that. Wala pa po akong nakita ng mga dokumento na nasa akin. Ngayon talaga ang war na from 2016 2022, but it's quite possible. Kasi meron talagang reward system. We can only surmise at this point in the absence of direct evidence na meron talagang magsasabi kung saan talaga yun ang galing. Maybe sila Colonel Garma, sina Colonel Leonardo, baka alam nila because they were part of that. Si Colonel Garma, yung inutusan according to her na maghanap ng pwedeng mag-implement ng drug war based on the Davao model. And this is, yung sinabi ko kanina, this was the Davao model. May kasamang mga reward, may kasamang mga cash incentives, may bracketing din. Depende kung sinong involved, kung sinong papatayin. And so that's the reward, that's the incentives. So, posible rin na gumamit uli ng Intel Fund, this time from the office of the President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I proceed sa iba kong tanong, dahil Mr. Chair, kung doon pa lang sa unang taon ng papatupad ng war on drugs sa ilalim ni former President Rodrigo Duterte, doon sa Committee on Human Rights, nakuha nating figure at mismo ay yun pa yung sinight na accomplishment sa report ng Presidential Communications Office ay umabot sa nasa ilang tens of thousands. Kung ang iti-take nating figure, Mr. Chair, ay 20,000, kasama doon yung mismo ay confirmed na police yung pumatay, tapos maging yung mga vigilante killings, Mr. Chair, na ang pumatay ay pwedeng hindi kilalang mga tao, pero bahagi yun ng tinuturing na tagumpay, hindi umano ng war on drugs. Kinompute kasi natin, Mr. Chair, kung 20,000, doon pa lang sa time frame na yon, 20,000 na yung mga napatay. Tapos, kung yung minimum na reward ay 50,000, assuming pa lang na mga small time or yung mga peddlers, yung mga pinatay, Mr. Chair, at least, aabot ko, i-multiply natin, Mr. Chair, 20,000 times 50,000, kakailanganin ang nasa 1 billion pesos pa lang dun sa mga rewards sa pagpatay, Mr. Chair. Hindi pa kasama dito yung mga allowances, yung mga kung merong mga weekly gas allowance pa rin, weekly cash allowance at iba pa. Sa rewards pa lang, Mr. Chair, sa ganong time frame, 1 billion pesos na ang kailangan. Pero Mr. Chair, kung ikukumpara kasi natin sa intelligence funds pa lang ng PNP, and let's take yung first year ng Duterte administration, ang intelligence funds ng PNP noong 2017 ay nasa 468 million pesos lamang, Mr. Chair. Walang kalahating bilyong piso ang intelligence funds ng PNP. So kung ganun, Mr. Chair, saan pwede talagang kumuha nung ganun kalaking pera bilang pangbayad, bilang premyo doon sa mga pulis na nakapatay. Kaya Mr. Chair, kung magpo-process of elimination tayo, dahil PNP lang naman yung pwedeng ahensya, sana na pagkunan ng ganun. Pero then again, kahit yung intelligence funds ng PNP hindi sapat, so wala nang ibang agency, Mr. Chair, na merong mas malaki pang intelligence funds na pwedeng pagkunan. Walang iba kundi yung mismong Office of the President. Lalo na kung itutugma din natin yan dun sa mga testimonya na merong mga taga-presidential management staff na bahagi rin nung channel, nung reward system na ito mula sa presidente patungo sa mga kasunod na mga level ng mga police officers, maging si Senator Bongo, si PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa, at iba pang mga dating opisyal under the Duterte administration. Kaya with that, Mr. Chair, tingin natin meron ding sapat na batayan para atin na ring silipin paano ginamit ng Duterte administration ang kanyang intelligence funds. Darating din sa punto, Mr. Chair, na dapat ay mag-issue na rin tayo ng subpoena ducis tecum sa mga dokumento na sinubmit ng Office of the President to COA, to the Commission on Audit, para talaga mabusisi natin kung ano yung naging justifications for the use of intelligence funds by the Office of the President under Rodrigo Duterte. So, kasunod, Mr. Chair, kasunod na tanong kay Senator Laila de Lima, nabanggit po kasi ang tungkol sa quarry mass grave. At kung isipin ko palang kahindik-hindik ito, Mr. Chair, kaya pasintabi na lang po sa ating mga kababayan na baka sa ganitong oras ay kumakain habang nanonood sa Quadcom hearing. Mr. Chair, meron po bang binigay na description yung kung sino mang witness patukol sa paano ba na-facilitate ang ganitong mga mass grave? Paano gumagana yung, paano hinandle ang ganitong mga mass grave?
Mr. Chair, Your Honors, kasama po kasi sa organizational structure ng DDS ay yung pinakita po kanina Now there is this SPO4 Bienvenido Laod as team handler and in charge of the Laod Quarry Mass Grave. Nandyan din po yung si SPO3 Jim Tan as team handler and in charge of the Manduk Mass Grave. Doon pa lang ho, nung nag-iimbesti kami sa 2009, may mga nakapagsabi na po sa amin na meron ganyan na mga mass graves kung saan tinatapon yung mga naging biktima ng DDS. Now, sinubukan ho namin na puntahan yung sa Laod Quarry. Kaya lang, nung pagdating skull, pero we learned later na hindi naman pala doon yung mga talagang mass grave of that property. It was in a higher portion of the Laod property na nandun nga daw po yung karamihan ng mga tinatapon nila na mga pinatay. So there are actually several mass graves from various sources, yung Laod, and then yung Manduk mass grave, and then meron din ho sa Samal Island. Yun po ang mga impormasyon na nakuha namin. So we actually applied for search warrant, but then nag-quinash ho ng isang RTC of Manila or Quezon City, I'm not sure anymore. Later, na reverse yung quashal of the search warrant ng Court of Appeals. And then eventually, the Supreme Court in 2014 affirmed the validity of the search warrant or affirmed the decision of the Court of Appeals. Kaya lang, wala na hong naging follow-up implementation of the warrant of arrest, either by CHR or by PNP, because I think because by 2014, insofar as CHR is concerned, its investigation closed already when it submitted or issued its resolution of June 2012. So hindi na po na-follow up yung ano sana ng mga mass graves na yan.
Mr. Chair, may nabanggit na tatlong location ng mga mass grave. Dun sa course ng investigation ni Senator Laila bilang dating chairperson ng Commission on Human Rights, meron po bang credible estimate kung ilan itong mga mass grave na ito na siyang facilitate ng Davao Death Squad bilang bahagi ng war on drugs?
It was difficult to really determine with to come up with a credible figure. Ang natatandaan ko po, yung si Edgar Matobato, meron din po siyang sinabi tungkol dyan. I'm not sure if he actually mentioned any number with respect to sa mga alam niya, na mga linibing nila. In fact, in some of those, participant talaga siya sa paglibing, kasama yung mga iba pang miyembro ng DDS. So I have to check from Mr. Matobato's affidavit, and also his testimony before the Senate, kung meron siya talagang nabanggit na estimate of the number. But again, I think it would be difficult really na makuha natin kung ilan talaga yung linibing doon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pero Mr. Chair, at least, so far alam natin, merong at least 3 na mga mass grave. Tama po ba?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kasi Mr. Chair, isipin pa lang natin, kahit nga isang mass grave pa lang ay sobrang heinous na na kung sino man yung mga gagawa ng isang ganong bagay. Tapos doon lang basta-basta magtatambak ng mga bangkay ng mga tao na merong mga pamilya, 'di ba? Merong mga pinanggagalingan din, merong mga gusto sanang gawin sa buhay pero napatay na lang ng gano'n na lamang. Mr. Chair, meron po ba kahit isa lang doon sa mga bangkay mula sa mga mass grave na na-retrieve pa para maibalik sa kanilang mga pamilya?
Wala po ako matandaan.
At Mr. Chair, meron din bang mga pamilya na lumapit sa CHR dahil ang suspecha po nila ay dahil hindi na nila mahanap yung kanilang mga pamilya, sila po ay nag-isip na baka nasa mass grave na yung bangkay ng kanilang mga kamag-anak. May ganun po bang mga instances?
Wala po akong ma-recall if there are really families ng mga victims sa DDS killings na lumapit sa CHR para hanapin yung kanilang mga bangkay. Ang alam ko, because it's more recent, is that may mga families of victims who visited me when I was in jail at Camp Crame at the PNP Custodial Center, and there were quite a number of them who relate to me yung mga naging experience nila yung tungkol sa pagpatay under the war on drugs. But as to the mass graves, again, I will have to review my personal notes. Comprehensive po yung aking personal notes, and I'll have to check that out. Mr. Chair, Your Honors.
Mr. Chair, noong ginawa ng nationwide model, yung model ng war on drugs galing sa Davao, na pinamunuan nung then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte. Mr. Chair, dahil I would assume na hindi na ganun kadaling mag-set up ng mga mass graves, lalo na kung ginawa halimbawa yung Oplan Tokhang sa mga urban centers. So, in that case, ay based dun sa initial investigations nung si Senator Lela de Lima ay nag-lead na po ng isang komite sa Senado, ano na po yung kadalasang paraan para ma-dispose yung bangkay ng mga naging biktima, no? Kahit ng mga innocenteng biktima ng war on drugs?
Siyempre yung mga sa salvaging. Pero alam niyo po about the Senate inquiry. I was the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights, but I was able to preside or conduct only an inquiry for 3 hearings. Kasi po after the 3rd hearing, kung saan pinisenta ko po si Edgar Matubato, ay inalista po ako bilang chairperson of that committee by the majority of my colleagues then. So iba na po yung nagpatuloy. Because in that Senate inquiry, gusto ko sana talagang tukuyin na yung mga killings na yan, starting in 2016, are really state-sponsored or state-inspired. Kaya lang, as I would remember, may naka-ready actually na about 13 CHR witnesses from the CHR na pinovide sa Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights. Pero 2 pa lang po yung na-present ko, and also si Mr. Edgar Matubato, but I was already ousted as a CHR chairperson. Now, after the 3rd hearing, what I recall is that 3 more hearings were done under a new chairperson. Pero, it was abruptly terminated kasi they did not even call the other available CHR witnesses na ready sanang i-present before I was ousted as CHR chairperson. They did not even present them. So, ang nangyari, they issued the findings, the resolution, and one of the core finding is that there's no evidence that the killings at that time were actually state-sponsored. Something that I wanted to prove sana kung hinayaan lang po ako. Although of course I could understand that perhaps it was such a tough job, a tough challenge for me to prove it. Especially that nandyan pa yung dating Pangulo sa poder. Nahihirapan pa na talagang kumuha ng mga iba pa, ng mga witnesses, especially from within. Hindi katulad po ngayon na naglalabasan na po sila. May mga insiders na po na sinasabi na kung ano yung mga nalalaman nila, but not during that time. Pero I wanted to do it. After sana the presentation of those CHR witnesses, these are individual accounts of individual cases of summary execution during operations, yung mga sinasabi nilang nanlaban, pero hindi naman pala nanlaban. I was also looking at the medical certificates, the various medical certificates that we got. Marami po yun. At ang dami talaga mga kaduda-duda doon. And of course, we summoned then PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa, and other officials of the PNP, but they were all denying that these are the workings of PNP forces or that these are cases of EJKs and let alone state-sponsored killings. So yun po. So nothing came out. It was almost a whitewash.
Kindly wrap up, please.
Yes, huling topic, Mr. Chair, since na-present din ang relation ng ating local law dun sa ICC or yung International Criminal Court. Since some camps would say na hindi dapat tayo maging open sa quote-unquote intervention, o ganun yung tinatawag sa mga hakbang na ginagawa ng International Criminal Court, since dapat daw ay ipatupad natin yung ating sariling batas. Huwag daw tayong pumayag na panghimasukan tayo, no? Ganun yung pagtingin sa ginagawa ng ICC. But since Senator Laila mentioned yung Section 17 ng RA 9851, tama po ba yung aking interpretation, Mr. Chair, na pinapatupad pa rin naman natin yung ating local law, which is yung RA 9851, if the Philippine government cooperates with the International Criminal Court? Dahil sa committee nga po natin, Mr. Chair, sa Committee on Human Rights and Committee on Justice, we approved a resolution. We are urging, as part of the legislative, we are urging the executive na mag-cooperate sa ICC when it comes to this war on drugs. So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, we are not surrendering our sovereignty. We are actually implementing the intent of our domestic laws kapag mag-cooperate ang Philippine government sa ICC. Tama po ba yung aking pagtingin, Mr. Chair?
Tama po yan, Mr. Chair and Your Honors. Dahil nga nandyan ang batas. In fact, nauna pa yan, 2009, before the Senate ratified the Rome Statute. But yung Rome Statute po was signed as early as 2000. I was just reminded by Attorney Conte earlier that it was actually signed by the former President Erap Estrada. Kaya lang, the ratification took some time. So it was only in 2011. But before that, pinasa nga itong RA 9851. And sa pagbabasa ko nga po ng mga provisions ng 9851, it is as if those who pushed for that are actually anticipating that there would be an international body that would be